Hi everyone and welcome to the RMIT Introduction to RMIT University presentation. In this session, we'll talk about everything that you need to know about RMIT, our courses, our campuses, and all of our offerings, and what it's like to be a student and study here. And I hope you find the session really useful. My name is Tarika. I work in the student recruitment team at RMIT. Also joining me behind the scenes are Jason, Alec, and Teresa. So if you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to pop it in the chat and we'll be able to answer either in question time or they'll be able to answer it privately to you as well. Before I begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we are on and pay my respect to any elders past, present and emerging and any Indigenous people joining us this evening. So we'll kick things off with why students look at studying at RMIT. So first things off, we are a dual sector institution. So that means we offer vocational education courses, what you'd probably know as TAFE, but we also offer university level programs as well. We're globally recognised, so we have 3 campuses in Melbourne, 2 flight training sites in Victoria, 2 campuses in Vietnam, and also a research centre in Barcelona, Spain. And there are plenty of opportunities for you to travel as a part of your program, obviously when it is safe to do so and COVID's no longer a thing, but that opportunity has been there for a number of years. And something we're really proud about at RMIT is we're industry connected. So there's lots of different ways for you to do work experience, no matter which program you decide to study. And again, we'll cover that a little bit later on in the session. So our campuses and sites that we have are the City Campus, Brunswick and Bandura in Victoria, and then also our Bendigo and Point Cook campuses, which are more for flight training. So we'll start off with the Melbourne City Campus. This is the largest campus of the 3. It's in the heart of Melbourne CBD, right opposite Melbourne Central train station. So it's really easy to get to by public transport. It's got some really nice facilities there. A lot of it's quite environmentally friendly in terms of the buildings, and it's quite sustainable materials used. And it is a really nice space. It's not really traditional in terms of its structure. So if you've been to any other universities, there's not really any walls or boundaries around us at the Melbourne City Campus. Instead, we're really interlaced amongst other restaurants, shops, cafes and things like that as well. I did forget to mention some of the courses that are offered at the City Campus are business, engineering, communication and all those kind of businessy kind of courses. We then have the Bandura Campus. So that's if you're interested in anything in the health and biomedical science space and also teaching. So anything like osteo, chiro, nursing, PE teaching, anything like that, then you most likely will be studying at the Bandura Campus. This campus is a lot more traditional in terms of its structure. It's very green, it's very peaceful, lots of parkland, lakes and wildlife surrounding us. So it's a really nice place. About 18 kilometres from the city. So it's up in the northern suburbs and also some really great sporting facilities there. So we have a FIFA approved soccer pitch. The Essendon's women's team have actually trained there before. And there's also on campus accommodation if you are looking at moving out of home and rolling out of bed and going to class. It's quite convenient as well. We then have the Brunswick Campus. So this is if you're interested in anything fashion and textile design and also graphic design as well. So this is our smallest campus, but that's because it is so niche and so specialised for these particular programs. A lot of this campus has been redone recently and they've got some really cool spaces, very nice new lecture theatres. There's also a runway on campus where our students get to showcase all of their work that they've been working really hard on throughout the year. And it's in a really nice part of the inner city, so it's in Brunswick, of course, and it's got lots of car parks and things like that around it. So it's very, very convenient to get to. The tram stops right in front of it. It's about 10 minutes from the CBD, so it's a really good place to study. We then have our flight training centres. So if you're interested in becoming a pilot, you can choose to do your studies out from the Williams RAF base at Point Cook, which is actually the oldest operating Air Force base in the world, or you can do it at our Bendigo flight training site as well. And that's brand new. That's only been there for about 1 or 2 years. So you have the option of either of those. They are a really great place to study. It obviously has all the planes and all the equipment there, but also all the software to look at things like air traffic control and things like that. So highly encourage you to go out and have a look at the facilities when it's possible. I know both of these Campuses often have open days and their own kind of events, especially the Bendigo one. So definitely something to kind of take into account if flight training and becoming a pilot something you're looking at wanting to do after year 12. We then have the Vietnam campuses. So we have two campuses, one in Ho Chi Minh and one in Hanoi. So if you're up for a cross-cultural experience, you can definitely go and choose to study at one of our campuses over there. Again, at the moment, it is all on hold at the moment, but hopefully by the time you get to that stage in your degree, life will be normal, fingers crossed, and you'll be able to make the most of this opportunity. So it is all taught in English, so you don't need to learn Vietnamese in order to study there. And it's the same level of study as if you were studying in Melbourne. So some of our Australian teachers would go out and teach in Vietnam, and some of our Vietnamese teachers will come and teach in Australia as well. So again, a really good kind of program we have there. Some of the subjects that are offered are business merchandising, engineering, information systems, and communication and digital media. But if Vietnam isn't your thing, there are plenty of other opportunities for you to go and travel as a part of your degree. I keep saying once it's safe to do so, but hopefully it gives you a bit of inspiration to make the most of travel once that becomes normal again. We have 200 partner institutions in over 49 countries, so pretty much anywhere you want to go, as long as the institute in that country is offering the courses that you're meant to be doing that semester, and also depends on your marks and things like that, then you pretty much can go anywhere. So there's a few different ways you can travel. You can go on exchange. That's when you go for 6 months and complete 4 subjects in a partner institute. So it's really good because you not only get 6 months of study done in that time, but you're also on pretty much a big holiday, experiencing a new lifestyle, making new friends, new memories, different food, different culture. So it is a really nice, wholesome experience. And it also looks really good on your resume because it sets you apart from everyone else and gives you something else to talk about in terms of extracurricular activities. But if that's too long away from home, we also have shorter study tours. So they're usually held in the summer holidays, usually go for about 1 week or 2 weeks. And you might go to, somewhere overseas. So I know a friend of mine was studying accounting and he went to Milan for a week. He completed a whole subject in a week. He had to come back and do a bit of a report. And then when classes actually started in March, he only had to do 3 subjects instead of 4. So he actually got credit for that whole trip and the assignment that he did for it. So it's pretty much a win-win. So definitely encourage you to look into that when it becomes an opportunity. We have over 200 partner institutions around the world, as I mentioned earlier. So there's 3 in North America, 3 in South America, 1 in Africa, 21 in Europe, 12 in Asia, and 2 in New Zealand and New Caledonia. So as I said, lots of different options and opportunities. And I know especially after the few years that we've had, or a couple of years, and hopefully no more than that, you'd all be itching to get out. So definitely encourage it. There are scholarships as well to help you study overseas, and also you do get to pay the same amount of fees for your courses as if you were studying in Australia. So it's pretty much your flights and accommodation and things like that you pay for. So yeah, something to think about when you get to that stage. We then have lots of work experience opportunities at RMIT, as I mentioned earlier. So I'll go through a few examples of different ways you can do work experience as a part of your program. So there are practical placements. If you're doing something like nursing, obviously you'll have placements at hospitals. If you're doing something like teaching, you'll have placements in schools, things like that. There's also clinical practice. So if you're studying our chiropractor degree, we have a chiro clinic at our Bandura campus. So it's a clinic that's open to the public, and from your 3rd year of the 5-year double degree, you actually get to start working there. So it's a really great opportunity for you as a student because you get to do that on-the-job learning as opposed to just reading about how it's done. You get to actually work on real-life customers, and it's also good for the customers because they get discounted chiro services. So it's a bit of a win-win, and if you ever get stuck, your teachers are literally in the room next door. You can call them over and they can help you out. So it's a really great program that's set up at the Bandura campus there. There's also lots of industry projects. So that's when organisations and companies come on campus or virtually, and your assignment and assessments might be based on a real life situation for them. So for example, for the St Kilda Film Festival, our graphic design students were actually a part of a competition to design their brochures and all their collateral and their marketing for that. So that might be an opportunity you might have. I know we have some interns in our team and they got to work with Gelato Messina and design some things for them. And the students who did well actually got ice cream vouchers, which is pretty cool. And all those kind of experiences make a big difference on your resume because you get to talk about real life things that you've done. And then, yeah, it really sets you apart from other applicants. There's also international work opportunities. So I have a friend of a friend who actually got to work in Germany at Adidas and got to do, 6 months of an internship over there, and they were an RMIT student. So again, really great internship opportunities. If you want to study business at RMIT, they have a really great program that allows you to do 1 year paid work placement as a part of the degree. It's called the Bachelor of Business Professional Practice. And that pretty much means you can, not study for your 3rd year of your degree and you actually go out and work full time. A little bit different to year 10 work experience because you'll get your proper salary and you'll be doing real life projects. And again, it makes a big difference on your resume. A lot of students who do that program end up staying on in their final year at the place they did their internship, which again is really good because you're getting that money while you're finishing off your degree and you're just building your resume a little bit earlier than everyone else. So at RMIT, we have a whole range of different courses. These are the kind of umbrella terms that the courses fit within. So there's building, fashion, engineering, everything from game design, social science, but don't get stressed if you don't see the actual name of the course that you're wanting to study, because it probably fits under one of these categories. So for example, if you want to do graphic design, it'll be under design. If you want to do software engineering, it'll be under engineering, obviously. If you want to do criminal justice, it'll be under law. So this is a really great starting point. You can have a look at this page on our website. Just go to the RMIT website and click study with us, and it shows you all the different courses that we have. It's really good to kind of do your research because there are so many different courses out there that you probably don't even know about. But when you do your research, you get to see other courses that you might be more interested in. So I know, for example, I talk to a lot of students who might think that they want to do architecture, but when they do their research, they realize at RMIT, we also have landscape architecture, we have urban and regional planning and construction management and all that kind of thing. So definitely encourage you to have a look. Even if you don't know what you want to do, it's a really, really good starting point because as you go through each area, you can cross off the ones you don't like. And as you do that, you might get closer to finding the course that you're wanting to do. And if you have any questions about what courses we offer or anything like that, we'll pop a link in the chat so you can go and have a look at our course offering as well. So prerequisites and selection requirements, obviously really important. Prerequisites are subjects you need to complete in order to be considered for particular programs. So for example, if you are wanting to study engineering at RMIT, you are required to do, in most cases, math methods, but we do have a new course that you can get in with further. So for anyone who's interested in engineering, we have a Bachelor of Engineering degree and you can get in with further maths, not methods. But again, the maths is a prerequisite, so you still need to do a maths to be considered. And if you want to do science, they might require something like biology or chemistry or something like that as well. So I guess the main takeaway from this slide is just make sure when you are looking, if you're, in year 10, make sure you're looking at the prerequisites that are required for the courses that you're wanting to get into. And if you're in year 12, when you're putting your preferences in on the BTAC website, make sure you're only putting in courses that you have done the prerequisite subjects for, because otherwise it is a wasted space. Because you could have a 99.9 ATAR, but if you don't have the prerequisite subject that's required, unfortunately, you just won't be considered, and you need to make sure you get that prerequisite score as well. So if you want to find out what prerequisites are required for the course that you're interested in, just go to our website and then find the course that you're interested in, and then just scroll down and there'll be an additional requirements section, and it tells you exactly what subjects you need. Similarly, for the art and design kind of programs, there are other things that you need to submit as a part of your application in order to be considered. Obviously, these are really creative programs, so we're not going to judge you based on how well you can memorize an essay or how well you can, execute a formula or anything like that. It really is about how creative and what your skills are like in that space. So for these programs, when you are looking at the prerequisites, you might realize that it says range of criteria or no ATAR. That just means that there are other things that they take into account. So for most of these courses, you will be required to submit either a pre-selection kit, submit your folio that you've created, come and do an interview, or have some type of design exercise. So generally for most of them, it's a pre-selection kit. So that's basically a mini assignment that you have to complete. So they might give you some type of brief, or you might need to take some photos of some work. You might have to write a few hundred words about why you want to study the program and things like that. So the requirements for what you need to submit are on the website now. Again, when you go on the program pages, just go to selection task requirements and you can find out exactly what you need to submit. Especially those of you in Year 12, highly encourage you to go and have a look at that now and get started on it, because a lot of the deadlines are around exam time, around October, November, and you want to give yourself the best chance to do well. So definitely go and check that out on our website. So I mentioned earlier that we are a dual sector institution. So I'll quickly go through the different types of study now. So we have higher education. So that is your bachelor degrees and undergraduate degrees, double degrees and associate degrees. So this type of learning is very independent. It's very theory based. No one's marking the roll. No one's making sure you're there. You'd have lectures full of maybe 300, 400 students. Obviously at the moment it's online. And then you'll have tutorials. So with your lectures, you're sitting there writing notes, but your tutorials are about 30, 40 students. So when you talk about your group assignments, when you talk about your assessments and do your tests and things like that. If it's a science-based program, you might have a lab. If it's an art-based program, you might have a studio class. And you're usually on campus for roughly about 12 to 15 hours a week. It might be a little bit higher if it has labs and studios, but that's the kind of ballpark there. And depending on the program, it can go from anywhere between 2 to 5 years. So 2 years generally for the associate degree, about 3 to 4 years for a bachelor's, and then 5 years for a double degree. And then we have vocational education. So that's your certificates 1 to 4 diplomas and advanced diplomas. This type of learning is a lot more similar to what you would be used to in high school. So you tend to go from class to class as a group. It's a lot more hands-on, a lot more practical. You're going to be on campus more, so about 24 to 25 roughly hours a week, but it will be less homework. So with the bachelor degrees, we are on campus for about 12 to 15. It's almost double for vocational education, but you don't have as much homework. So that's kind of how it balances out there. And it can go from anywhere between 6 months to 2 years, depending on the program that you do. And we also offer apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships as well. So obviously it's on the job training and you get paid while you work and all that kind of thing. It can go from anywhere between 3 months to 4 years, depending on the program and the study style that you select. So that's a really great opportunity if you are thinking about maybe becoming a sparky or a plumber or anything like that. It is offered out at our city campus near the Lygon Street end as well. So if you know anyone who is interested in that, you can definitely check out our website and find out more information about how that works. So pathways are really important. They're pretty much getting from where you are to where you want to be. So this is a very basic pathway example on the screen. A lot of students kind of dream to have this seamless pathway of finishing year 12, having the right ATAR, having the right prerequisite subject into the first year of their bachelor's degree and then out into their dream career. But we know obviously it's been a tough couple years and things won't always go to plan. You might not have gotten the ATAR you were hoping for. You might not get the prerequisite subject score, or you might not have chosen that subject to begin with that's required for the course. And that's where you can really make the most of RMIT being dual sector and offering both TAFE and bachelor degrees. So for example, we'll use the engineering example again. You can do an advanced diploma for 1 year and transfer into the second year of a bachelor's degree, or you can do an associate degree for 2 years and transfer into the third year of a bachelor's degree. So as you can see, It doesn't take any extra time. You still get 2 qualifications, but within the 4 years still. So it's still 4 years, you get 2 qualifications. It's good because you might even want to start working part-time after completing the TAFE programs, and you might actually start working in the industry a little bit earlier that way. So it's a really great option. We'll pop a link in the chat now to our pathways tool. So if you want to find out what pathways are available for your particular program, you'll be able to just type in the name of your program and see what pathways are available there. We also offered something new at the start of this year, and it's called Pathways Guaranteed. So obviously we really encourage students, when you're putting in your VTAC preferences in Year 12, that you put in those backup options just in case things don't work out. And when you are thinking about that, you might want to consider some of our Pathways Guaranteed programs. So that basically means you apply for a package on VTAC. So instead of applying for a bachelor's degree and then an associate degree, if the bachelor's degree is your goal, you'd want to maybe keep that higher up. And then if you want to put a backup option, this might be a really good option, because it means that after completing the associate degree, you don't need to reapply for the bachelor's degree. You automatically go into it. So as long as you pass, you go straight into it, don't need to reapply, and you know exactly how long it will take in each program. So 2 years for the associate, 2 years for the bachelor's, and then you're out on your way. And that's a really good way to guarantee that you're on the right track into getting into the program and then eventually the career path that you're wanting to get into. And of course, you don't have to do a bachelor's degree in order to be successful or anything like that. It's really about finding what's right for you. You can definitely go out into the industry and find work after our advanced diploma and associate degrees as well. So as I said, find what's right for you. You might want to work for a little bit and then come back and do further studies and things like that. Your pathway won't be the same as your best friends. So it's really about finding something that you're interested in and the type of study that you're interested in, what's going to fit your lifestyle and things like that. So I know the transition from high school to tertiary studies can be really daunting, but there are a lot of support services available to support you and help you out every step and every aspect in that transition process. So there are a lot of examples on the screen. I won't go through all of them, but I'll go through a few. So SLAMs are a really great one. They are basically student learning advisory mentors. So they're students who've done really well in a particular subject the semester prior to yours, and you can go to them basically for free tutoring. So it's really good because if you get stuck in a particular subject, these mentors have their time set up and you can kind of drop in or have individual appointments and get all your questions answered. I know this is really good for those students who sometimes find it a little bit difficult. Maybe sometimes you might just not understand how your teacher's explaining something and you want a peer to explain it. And these are students who did really well already, so you know you're getting the right information. And it works both ways. So if you're a high achieving student, you might want to volunteer to become a SLAMS mentor and then get the whole certificate and be a part of that networking program. And it looks really good on your resume as well. There's also lots of work and career help, which is obviously really important. We have a team called the Job Shop, and they assist students with finding a job basically. So whether it's a part-time job at Woolies whilst you're studying, or a job when you've graduated, or an internship or anything, the whole team can help you with writing your resume. They can look over students' cover letters. If you are really nervous for job interviews, they can help out with mock interviews, take a LinkedIn photo, all that kind of stuff. There's also free counselling available for students. There's a medical clinic on campus, financial help, accommodation help, and all that kind of thing. So if you do have any questions around support services, again, check out our website. All the resources are there and you can contact the teams directly once you're a student. But I guess it's just important to know that I know you might be thinking about going somewhere or, you know, away from your friends and away from, you know, your comfort zone that you've had in high school, but you will have a good network of people ready to help you if you do decide to come to RMIT. So at RMIT, we've got students who've gone on to do some really cool things, and we like to show them off quite a bit. So I'll go through a few examples of the students on the screen. So these are all past students of RMIT. They all graduated. James 1 is actually director of Saw. So for those of you who've watched any of the Saw series, Aquaman, Conjuring, Fast 5, any of those movies, James 1 was actually the director of those, and he studied a Bachelor of Media and Communications at RMIT and actually started writing the script for the first movie whilst he was still a student. So who knows, we might have one of your faces up here one day. Another example is Amy Vale. So for those of you that have the premium version of Spotify, like myself, it's probably because we really hate those annoying ads. So we can kind of blame Amy for those. She was a person who used to work at Spotify in marketing, and she did a business degree at RMIT, and she had a really great position in America over there. And now she's in New York and she's pursuing another role in another company. And Jamie is also another really great example. So Jamie studied entrepreneurship at RMIT. Him and his wife, basically, they owned a cafe, and they saw a lot of wastage with the cups and lids and all the rubbish and things like that. And they came up with the idea of keep cups. So the reusable cups that you see everyone carrying around, and being really environmentally friendly and using those at coffee shops instead of buying a new cup each time. Yeah, he was a creator of those. So there's lots of knockoff versions, but he was the OG creator. So we're quite proud of him. And if you are interested in finding out about other RMIT students and famous alumni that you might know of, be sure to check out our website or have a look at our YouTube as well, because there are lots of cool stories and cool students that went there as well. And finally, I know I've spoken about all the nitty-gritty stuff about university and what it's like to study there and how to get in and what the process is and everything, but it is a really fun time of your life. You get to make a lot of friends. You become quite independent. It's just a whole different ball game compared to high school. So it's a really good thing to do is join lots of clubs and put yourself out there. So you can join sports and recreation clubs. If you play a particular sport, you can join the club and verse other universities at the uni games. Traditionally, it is in a different state each year. Obviously, at the moment, it's not happening at all. But hopefully by the time you guys decide to come to university, that'll be up and running again. There's also lots of arts and culture clubs. It's a really great way to find like-minded individuals and make friends outside of your course as well, and just network. So some of the clubs that we have a Coffee Lovers Club, there's a Chocolate Eating Society, there's Dumbledore's Army if Harry Potter's your thing. So it's a really, really good way to make lots of friends and go on field trips and do lots of excursions and things like that. And when you do start at RMIT, we do have an orientation week and a street party to welcome all new students. So we have lots of food trucks and games and giveaways and prizes, as you can see on the screen at the moment. So definitely some good things to look forward to. There's always competitions and free food on campus. So I guess you can't really go wrong there. At RMIT, something we're really proud about is being quite inclusive to all backgrounds and everyone in the community. We won lots of awards, RMIT as a whole, for being inclusive. So we really like to prepare students to succeed in real life, but also as individual people as well. And we look at it as being quite motivating for students. So definitely something to look forward to if you decide to come to RMIT. You get to make lots of new friends from a wide range of backgrounds. And you're probably thinking about what online study is like, obviously with the lockdown and things. At the moment, all classes are online and all the lectures are recorded. So if you, even when lockdown opens up, if you feel unsafe going on campus, you can study online, but it is very collaborative and we try and make it as interactive as possible for students. So we have Collaborate Ultra, where you can do your group assignments and have breakout rooms and talk to students as though you're face to face. And yeah, there's lots of software available through My Desktop. So all the software that you would have access to at university, through this portal that you can log into, you can use all those softwares and facilities through that as well. Another great thing that we do is each semester we survey our students and ask them how they're going, try and get feedback, and then that gets relayed to our team, and they always try and make improvements and see what students need and make it a better experience for them. We know it's really hard studying online. A lot of you must be doing it for a couple years now, hopefully not much longer, but all the facilities are there to study online. Obviously, when we did open up back on campus, and you can go back on campus once we are allowed to do so. And if you're wanting to do a subject that requires you to be on campus, basically what happens is you just study the subjects at the time that don't require you to be on campus, and then as soon as restrictions ease, you can go back and study the other subjects. But if you have any questions around that, you can go and have a look at our COVID plan on our website and find out more there as well. A really great initiative that we've introduced this year is our early offer program. It basically means that if you are a current Year 12 student wanting to apply to start in semester 1 next year, you can apply to get a conditional offer in September. So where most students get their offer in December and January, you can actually get a conditional offer in September saying that as long as you meet these requirements and get this ATAR and these prerequisite subject scores, then you're pretty much guaranteed a place, which is really, really good. And how we assess applicants is to look at them as a whole applicant, so not just how you perform in your exams, but things that you do outside of the classroom. So extracurricular activities that you might do. So these are the 5 categories on the screen. There's leadership, interpersonal skills and teamwork, creative thinking and innovation, communication, analytical and critical thinking. So basically you just need to make sure you meet 2 of these 5 categories. Just a few examples for you. For leadership, if you're a school captain or a captain in a sports team, or a manager at your workplace, that might be an example that you might want to talk about. If you're a creative thinker, you've come up with, you've won a competition or done something like that. If you, teamwork, if you're playing a sport, work part-time, all that kind of stuff. So basically, to submit your application, you need to submit a 200-word statement for each category outlining why you believe you meet that category. And then you need to submit a piece of evidence. That might be a certificate to say that you participated in something, or a certificate to say you won something, or a letter from an employer or a teacher or your coach or something like that as well. So definitely something to consider, because it does give you that peace of mind going into exams, knowing that you already have an offer and you just need to get that lowered ATAR score, and you're guaranteed a spot into the program. So it is really good. Applications are open at the moment. So they're open now through our RMIT early offer portal, and we'll pop a link in the chat now for you as well. All you need to do is fill out your details, pop in your 200-word statement and upload your evidence. And applications do close on Monday. So make sure you get it in before Monday, the 30th of August, because yeah, we won't be extending the deadline after that. So you want to make sure you get on it now, ask the people that you want to write your reference letter for you, go and find that certificate from that competition you won, so you make sure you're not leaving it last minute, and then just submit your application online. So the courses that are offered for this early offer program, because it is the first year of the program, we do have a pilot series of courses that we're offering. So at the moment, it is only these courses on the screen. So it's Bachelor of Business, Business Professional Practice, Engineering, Data Science, Space Science, Applied Maths and Statistics, Chinese Medicine, Pharmaceutical Sciences, Legal and Dispute Studies, Environmental Science, and the Bachelor of Arts Music Industry. So unfortunately, if you don't see the name of your program you're interested in, at this stage it's not offered for an early offer course for 2021. That doesn't mean that you won't get into the program. You can still apply for any other program, but these are the ones we're offering for the early offer scheme that we have going. So at RMIT, we try and make it fair for all applicants when they are applying, and we really want to be inclusive to everyone. So there are a few different equity categories that you can, if you fall under, you can be given special consideration as a part of your application. So some of those categories are if you're an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander, if you're mature age, from a non-English speaking background, if you have a disability or long-term medical condition, if you have a disadvantaged financial background from a rural area, if you have some difficult circumstances in life or something's happened, have an underrepresented gender for some programs. So I know, for example, if you're a female wanting to do engineering, there's some equity stuff around that as well. Or if you go to a SNAP school, so you probably know if you go to a SNAP school, that also means you fall under the equity category and you can apply for equity and Cs and SNAP. So basically all you need to do is apply through VTAC. You pretty much just have to tick a box and fill out all your details. So when you are applying for a course, you apply through BTAC, and then in your application you have to apply for Cs as well. So this is really important. The applications opened at the start of the month and they close on the 8th of October. So make sure you go in if you fit any of the categories that I mentioned earlier, and make sure you go and complete that part of the application before October so you can really make the most of the extra consideration that's given to you, because it can be the difference between you getting into the program or not as well. So how it works is if you are applying for Cs, you actually get special consideration. So you get bonus ATAR points. So you might be able to get into a program even if you have lower than what the ATAR is that's required. So I know if you go to a SNAP school, if you're applying for a course that has an 80 ATAR required, you actually get 20 points leeway. So anything between a 60 and 80 means you still have a chance of getting in. Obviously, that doesn't mean don't study and don't take the rest of the year off and be like, I've got SNAP, I'll be right. You want to study hard and make sure you do well and feel satisfied in your results, but it just means that you have that safety blanket to fall on just in case things don't go to plan. If you are doing a course that requires a selection task or an interview or a folio, the special consideration will also be made for that as well. So sometimes some of the evidence that you need to provide might be an impact statement. So that might be something that a doctor might write, or something where you talk about how a circumstance might have affected your studies, or you might have a support statement as well. So it's the same kind of thing. It's when someone else does it. So sorry, impact statement, you do it. Support statement you get someone else to do, but it'll be all in VTAC. And if you have any questions, there are a lot of great FAQs around the Cs application on the VTAC website, or you can pop it in our chat and contact us as well. There are also a wide range of scholarships, definitely something to consider because it is free money at the end of the day. It's not always for the high achieving academic students, although there are plenty for those as well. There are also equity-based scholarships. There's also pathways for you to go from vocational education to higher education, and travel grants, as I mentioned earlier, to go on exchange and things like that. So definitely something to consider. And they are available for our certificates 4, diplomas, associate degrees, bachelor degrees, and all of our postgrad programs if you're an international student as well. So it is really good. I talk to a lot of other reps from other universities, and I always hear about how a lot of the time students don't apply for scholarships, or only one person applies, and even if they have an average application, they get it by default. So don't think that, oh, I'll never get a scholarship. You won't get it if you don't try, and you might actually be the only person applying. So it is really, really good, and then you don't have to worry about paying it off later on. So you can find out more information about that on our website. There's a whole range dependent on the different categories that I mentioned earlier. So the applications for the VTAC scholarships opened on the 2nd of August and they close on the 8th of October. So you go on VTAC's website to apply for those. To apply for the specific RMIT scholarships, they also have already opened and they close on the 10th of October. So I know that's just after the term 3 holidays. So holidays is probably a really good time to put some time aside to have a look at the scholarships that are available, write your application. It might take you 20 minutes and then you might get 20K for it. So definitely something to work on. So that pretty much sums up the end of my presentation. We will open up to questions now. So if you have thought about anything or have anything on your mind that you'd like to ask us, feel free to pop it in the chat and I'll just get the team to read them out.
Great. Thank you for that, Tarika. That was a really informative session. We do have a few questions that have come through. First one being, where can I find the entry requirements for a program?
Yep, so to find the entry requirements for a particular course, just find the program that you're interested in studying on our website and pretty much just scroll down and there'll be a section that says additional requirements and selection criteria, and it'll outline exactly what prerequisite subjects are required as well as the score that you need to get in it. And if you are doing a selection task, those requirements will also be listed there.
Great, thank you. Next question is, can I submit a direct application or do I have to go through VTAC?
So if you are a Year 12 student, you need to apply through VTAC for all programs. So it's nice and easy. All the programs are through VTAC. If you are applying for an early offer place though, if you're just wanting to apply for an early offer, to get an early offer, you submit your application through VTAC and then you submit your early offer application through our website.
Awesome, thank you for that. Next question is, where can I find the pathways for my program?
Yep, so Pathways, we have a really great Pathways tool that we put together. So I think we popped a link in the chat for you. So go and have a look. Pretty much you just type in the name of the program that you're interested in or have a browse, and it'll outline every single pathway that's available for it. It'll outline the guaranteed pathways with the packages, as well as the other pathways as well. It also tells you how long each pathway is in total. Some might be 5 years, some might be 4.5. So you can really have a look and see which pathway is best suited for what you're trying to achieve.
Great, thank you for that. Next question we have coming up is, can you please explain more about scholarships?
Yep, so as I just mentioned, there are a range of scholarships that you can apply for. So there's some on the VTAC website and also some on the RMIT website. They're equity-based, they're academic-based, they're for underrepresented genders and specific courses. So just make sure you have a look and take some time out to have a look on both websites, see what you're eligible for, fill out your application and then submit that. So in most cases, you just need to do a little bit of writing. You might need to submit some evidence, but it's not too crazy.
Terrific. Now we've just got a couple more questions left. This one being, what if the course I want is not on the list of early offers?
Yeah, so unfortunately, it is only the list of courses that are offered that we currently have. If you are wanting to get an early offer for another program, unfortunately, we cannot allow that. So that just means that you'll just apply like everyone else for the course on VTAC, just like normal. So it doesn't hinder your chances of getting in at all. It just means you'll just apply like how everyone else has done in every other year. So just submit a normal application without it.
Great. And last question was, what support services are available for students during the pandemic and for studying online?
Yeah, so if you are struggling online, we have lots of, like a lot of the teachers are available via email and they set up lots of extra drop-in sessions and things. So if you want that one-on-one time, that's available. We also have the mentoring help. So if you want to find a peer mentor of a student who's done the subject beforehand, you can get some guidance from them. It's always really good hearing it from someone who's been through it, who's come out the other end and kind of made it out alive. So you can hear from them directly. But there's also lots of wellbeing support as well. So we offer free counselling for students. So if you just want to have a chat to someone, if you're finding it hard or you're not sure about what your direction you kind of want to go into, that's also available as well.
Great. Thank you for that, Tarika. I'll pass it back off to you now.
Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this evening. I hope you found this session useful. Don't forget to join us at our virtual open day this Sunday, the 29th of August. There'll be lots of cool sessions, Q&As with academics and students studying programs, lots of course-specific sessions, workshop sessions, industry panels. So yeah, it's going to be really good. You get to see lots of campus tours. So just register online to find out more, and I hope you have a good evening. Thank you.